Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Group Chat. We have a very important episode because there are some things happening in the world that we will discuss, specifically what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. We are talking the stock market, what a whipsaw day Thursday was. We're talking Coinbase earnings. We are talking Revolve earnings. Woo! And we are talking so much more. And if you are in LA Saturday and Monday, we have two editions of the Run Club. Saturday, 9 a.m., always Santa Monica Boulevard in Doheny. But on Monday, we have a special collaborative Run Club with the folks from ENIAC and my good friend Nihal Mehta, an early stage venture investor, and I are partnering up because everyone's in town. Monday, 9 a.m., Santa Monica Boulevard and Doheny. Come out. They have a run club out in New York called Pitch and Run with founders and investors. Come out. You want some money? This is how you're going to get it. But you got to run.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Arian, how old are you?
I am 21 years old.
You are the age that will be drafted first.
I got that student deferment, though.
World War II, there was no student deferment.
Yes, there was.
For what?
And I'll just be a conscientious objector. It's okay.
You're a Dodge drafter. Draft dodger, sorry.
Draft dodger, yeah.
Hell yeah.
What are you objecting against?
Just religious. I don't believe in killing, all that fun stuff.
Okay. You eat meat?
I do. Yes,
okay.
I do.
Just making sure. See how you follow in that. I have a better shot at that. Luckily, I'm 41. I will not
we're
be
too old. If we get into this real escalation where we need boots on the ground, Dee and I are not the ones.
I'm 41 with asthma.
Yeah.
Good.
I have no use for the U.S. government. All joking aside, last night was, I would say, a pretty historic night for especially a lot of young people because, we've been in peace times for quite some time.
Yep.
Obviously, there were a lot of, I would say, a lot of attacks, specifically drone strikes during the Obama administration.
Yep.
That were specifically in the Middle East that I think some citizens were aware of. I think people got more aware of it later on.
And I think people chose to ignore them.
Correct.
I would say when we look back, I'm as big of an Obama fan as anyone, but when we look back at his presidency, the expansion of the drone program is going to be the blemish on his record.
Yeah.
And no one really cared because American soldiers weren't dying.
Yeah.
And they didn't care if hospitals and schools were, casualties of war.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate problem with war in general, right? If it doesn't affect your backyard, most people are not concerned. So yesterday, the U.S. government kind of had leaked out that an attack on Ukraine was imminent.
For 2 weeks. They basically pinpointed to the hour of when. So
how do they do that? That's
kudos
unbelievable.
to the intelligence officials in the United States. They pinpointed exactly when it was going to happen, how it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not a war that the United States is going to put American troops in. So there's nothing the U.S. could have done physically.
Yeah.
But it didn't become a surprise in the last few weeks. And then if you talk to people who followed this for a long time, they would say this is 8 years in the making when Russia had the escalation in Crimea.
Well, a lot of it is like understanding why Putin is attacking Ukraine. And so there's just a lot of explanations going around. And it sounds like what he's saying on the surface level is that Ukraine has no business being a country and that it is a property of Russia.
Right.
And let's just assume he believes that. I don't think that's the reason you go to war. I mean, there's always an angle. War is always about money. It is never about pride.
I think this is actually pride. And I think Putin's generation saw the collapse of the Soviet Union. And it was the biggest ego blow which was one of the most powerful countries in the world. For all intents and purposes, economically, Russia is irrelevant.
Yeah.
When it comes to the global, they control natural gas to Eastern Europe, or even Germany, sorry. And that's like their big stronghold on being relevant. But when you think about, we know the biggest technology companies, it's US, it's China, it's India.
Yeah.
It's 3 places.
What about vodka?
I mean, Tito's is from Austin.
Oh, yeah, Tito's is number 1 in America. You guys lost that too?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So I think it's partially, I think all of it, it's Russian pride.
Well, so I think patriotism in Russia is good for business, like consumer confidence. Like,
No, it actually isn't. So if you look at the polling, these are 2 different generations of Russians.
yeah.
It's the old school generation and the oligarchs who are all billionaires. They can actually just be billionaires and be left alone and travel on their yachts and do all the fun stuff.
Great yachts.
And not actually get involved in any of this and just live quietly. The problem is they have egos, and they had still egos hurt from the Soviet collapse, and I think this is their way of getting back. And it's a massive humanitarian crisis, and that's going on. Like, you see the reports, and no one wins in war, right? Especially when there was no conflict.
Yeah.
There was actually no conflict here. It was just a country doing their own thing, and then all of a sudden someone just comes and takes it over.
Yeah.
That's not like how typical war happens.
And Ukraine's not part of NATO, right?
No, that's what Putin was very against.
Yeah. So he basically is, the message he's kind of giving the Russian people is that a Western-backed government like this threatens the very survival of the Russian state.
So if you look at the polling, I saw it was the majority of people in Russia don't believe they should be invading Ukraine. And then if you look at the protests in St. Petersburg and Moscow, in Russia, if you protest, you can be arrested and put in jail. And you have young Russians that are sitting in these cities, in the St. Petersburg and Moscow, willing to go to jail, saying this isn't the country I put in power, because Putin's not democratically elected. He just took over the country.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the fascinating dynamic for the country, where you have this old guard who believes one thing and the young people don't believe that.
Yeah. So that poses a very difficult place for Putin long term, because the difference, take China. China, everyone's aligned.
Yeah.
There's no dissent.
Do you want to know why? Because in China, he made everyone he created a middle class.
Yeah.
The Chinese government created a middle class. They can provide for their families. Their kids can go to school. They put food on the table. They have jobs. And China has made that. China has played the long game. They spent 2.5 decades basically building this country where they can have a stable society, and then they're going to start, the next step of escalation.
Yeah.
But in Russia, if you're not in the top, portion of the country economically, you have a terrible life.
Yeah. What's up with Edward Snowden? He's real quiet right now.
True, he's in Russia. I forgot.
Yeah, he just loves to shoot down America whenever he gets a fucking chance. Now he's not going to say a word.
Yeah, he's in the
Pussy.
country. Yeah. So that, I mean, I don't know. It's by no means are we experts on any of this stuff, but I think we know enough that this was unprovoked. I think you can universally say that. And the people of Ukraine suffer. I mean,
It sucks.
Kyiv is 2.8 million people. And Kyiv, Ukraine, I have many friends who've gone to Kyiv.
Is it Kiev?
I don't know.
I like Kiev better.
Okay. But the point is, this isn't like some remote. It is, for average people, it's probably remote, but there's a tech scene, there's a crypto scene. Don't you know a crypto guy in Ukraine?
Yeah, I actually talked to him yesterday.
Is he still there?
Yeah, he said he's completely safe. His family. He didn't say where he was. He's also a very secretive person.
Yeah, he's probably in Eastern Europe
He
now.
probably may have left the country.
Sure. But yeah, it's a terrible situation on all accounts.
So I think the big concern, everyone, obviously you go from this conflict to doomsday scenarios, and so all the people are now all the foreign policy experts on Twitter, all those people that spent decades researching.
Well, they were epidemiologists before.
Yes.
So the last 2 years,
and cryptographers.
They were epidemiologists. They were blockchain experts.
Yeah.
And now they should be on the UN Security Council.
Here's a thread on why Russia and Ukraine separatists. And the same guy was doing a meme of Elon Musk and Doge 6 months ago. But I think what's interesting is just like the rampant speculation of how like World War III starts. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, now China's going to attack Taiwan. Iran's going to attack Israel. I'm like, whoa, how did that all happen?
Well, the China-Taiwan thing's a real speculation.
But it's just a speculation.
They've made it clear that Taiwan's part of China.
So that's fine. They can make that clear, but they haven't. There's no like
They're flying planes over.
Yeah, but they do
warning
that all
shots.
the time.
Yeah.
They do that all the time. At the end of the day, the Chinese government wants economic stability. It's not good for their country to have, like complete chaos in the world. It's not like they're a manufacturing state still. Like they need stability of consumption. War does not provide that for you. So I understand what China's playing, but like they seem pretty thoughtful in the way they approach. Russia's a little reckless.
Yeah, China has a long view.
Yeah.
If the only thing is egos get involved, right, with these authoritarian dictators, like they're buddy-buddy. We saw them at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Being real chummy, Xi and Putin.
Yeah.
Like Putin just basically said the whole world, F you, I'm taking over and no one's going to stop me. And Xi may not want to look weak. Like Putin calls Xi, I got Ukraine.
So I don't know anything what's going on in China and Taiwan. I understand they want them to be a part of Taiwan.
That's it.
What does America's interest in letting Taiwan, like, why should we get involved with that?
A lot of chip manufacturing's in Taiwan. And I think it's just, if they go to Taiwan, do they start just expanding?
Yeah, every business wants to expand. I mean, the United States has military bases all over the fucking world for a reason.
Yeah, but we don't control their countries.
Says who? We don't control these countries. We provide foreign aid to every goddamn country on earth. You don't think we control them?
Maybe.
It's just we're just not overtly controlling them, but like there's a reason why we have military bases, why we provide foreign aid, why we have such arrangements with so many countries. So China's like, why can't we do that? There's some countries you don't like that we like.
I mean,
and by the way, like the world changed. United States was a superpower for a very long time. And what time in history does someone get to stay in power forever?
I mean, U.S. still is the superpower by like leaps and bounds by every metric.
Yeah, and
China's
that's because we have a
growing.
presence all over the world. Mm-hmm. We have...
And the biggest economy in the world by multiples.
Yeah, but I think the military presence does matter. So China's thinking the same game. Like, shouldn't we have... the presence. And what's interesting is like, so I went to an event today at our friend's office, and there was a lot of, founders there, a lot of young founders there. And I think it kind of goes into this discussion. And we were talking about, so the reason why the discussion came up, because last night is when Russia kind of stepped foot in Ukraine and things started happening, right? The attack kind of started. Stock market plummeted immediately, right? I think it was down like 800 points, Dow futures. NASDAQ down 2.5%. Wake up in the morning, plummet. And I was at this event at like 8 in the morning. So the market was still down. And I was just hearing like, what's kind of response like these young people. And everyone was like, what are you buying? Like, this is an opportunity. What are you all buying?
Yep.
And the names that people are talking about, the S&P 500, and then one young guy was talking about buying Alibaba, and he was telling just his thoughts on like their cash position, the size of the business, one of the largest e-commerce businesses on earth. Like, how is his business so undervalued? Even if there was some fraud in there, it still feels very undervalued. And then we start talking about Facebook, and I was like, I'd be buying Facebook if long term.
Yep.
And he was like, really? He's like, don't you think Mark Zuckerberg's hands are tied. I was like, they are tied at this moment. But then, everyone was talking about like he's basically the best founder out in the market right now that people believe in, I think. At least young people still believe in. And, you can make comments about Facebook and Instagram and where their positions in life. And then we start talking about TikTok and Shein and talking about all these businesses. And I was like, don't you think if we had, which I think will happen, the same way we've been very disjointed as a country the last 4 or 5 years, I do believe there'll be a moment where we'll have to be united because, like, I don't care what anyone says. War brings people together. It is good for fucking business. It may not be good for like certain businesses, but it is good for patriotism and uniting the country. It always has.
I don't know if in 2022 it does, because if you just go on Republican talking heads, they're rooting for Ukraine to be a disaster. Yeah. They're rooting for Biden to fail. They're rooting for America to have egg on their face. You look at their comments. You look at Clay Travis. You look at all these guys. The voice of the Republican Party. They don't want unity.
Yeah.
They want Biden to fail. They want bloodshed.
Yeah.
They want absolute destruction. It's not 2001 anymore.
Yeah.
In 2001, we wanted the country to unite after 9/11 and be safe. 2022, that's off the table.
So
Republicans, I mean, it's the same thing. In 2020, when Trump had Operation Warp Speed, I think it was Cuomo who said, I would never take a Trump vaccine.
Yeah.
So the left was doing the same thing.
Yeah. So I agree with that, but I have a feeling that the mood of the country will change. One will, economic hardship will create some sort of unity. And I think if there are threats of war, like, I think there will be, it may not be for everybody, but you don't need everyone's buy-in to create unity. You need like 55%, 60%.
Yeah, I think the way we've splintered the country via social media and podcasts and everything, I just think the genie's out of the bottle. We'll never have unity again. I don't believe it.
So where I think there is an opportunity to be unified is, so the reason why this discussion was super fascinating, because we were talking about like someone was saying, Mark Zuckerberg's hands tied. He'll never be able to buy a company. He'll never be able to do anything. And I was like, I agree with that right this second. At some point, a politician's going to wake up. I don't expect anyone of the smart politicians to wake up, but some new comes along and says, we let a Chinese company, ByteDance, basically take over the most important social network in our country is a Chinese company. A retailer basically destroy hundreds of billions of dollars of market cap with Shein stealing from American retailers. Someone must have the wherewithal to be like, we have to change the rules. And there's a couple things you could do. You could either control the Chinese companies, which I don't think we'll do. Like, I don't think we'll ever see a world where like we're going to ban Chinese companies. I actually don't think that'll ever happen. That is the smart thing to do, but it's never going to happen. I do think you got to unleash Mark.
Yeah, I think similar to the Patriot Act in 2001, where American citizens just accepted to give up all their privacy.
Yeah.
There needs to be a 3-year moratorium. Big tech, go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to lose to China. Because if you're not going to
national security.
Yeah, if you're not going to kick TikTok out,
Yeah.
if you're not going to kick Shein out, which those are the like easy alternatives.
Yeah.
Like just
That's
block them.
so easy.
Just turn off their IP.
Yes. You have to move all your servers, move everything to America, and we have federal investigators monitoring you at all times. That the
Don't
data
even just block them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
What do
just
you mean?
saying.
Why even do all that? The simple is like turn them off.
Yeah, bye.
It'd probably take an engineer a day.
What's interesting is I talked to our cousin who's from India. We were talking about TikTok. I'm like, do people in India still use TikTok because it's banned?
Yeah.
He's like, they do, but like. He's like, their friends aren't on it anymore. So it's like, it's dead.
Yeah.
It's literally dead.
Yeah, because if you want to compete with Chinese tech, you have to let these companies acquire. Because, I mean, Microsoft's doing it unabashedly. Like, they don't get, no one's touching them.
Yeah.
They're way bigger than Facebook. They're
Yeah.
probably 4x the size now of Facebook.
Yeah, easy. More.
And they're doing $60, $70 billion acquisitions.
Yeah.
And no one's batting an eye.
Yeah.
And if you don't let, like, as much as people hate him, Mark Zuckerberg is one of the most important Americans from just a national security perspective in terms of just controlling data so that it doesn't go to Chinese companies. You need Mark.
Yeah.
He's so important. And we're just handcuffing him. And I think the world's changed. But then you're going to have AOC and Bernie come out and say, like, he's going to crater small businesses because they don't even understand what Shein and TikTok are doing.
Yeah.
They know to their base, if they say Facebook hurts the small business Americans, it works.
Yeah.
So they're going to scream from the mountaintop about that, but not realizing it doesn't work to tell a struggling small business, hey, we're trying to protect ourselves from Chinese controlling our data.
Yeah.
That doesn't work politically.
No, but then you have to figure out, there are smart people that know how to frame the narrative that, okay, if you took, rumor is Shein does $20 billion, okay? Some say bigger. Then we know at least half their business comes from America.
Sure.
That's 10, 11, 12 billion dollars taken away from American retailers.
Yeah.
That's not replacing other Chinese retailers. No, it's like literally taking away from American retailers. So if you think about it from that standpoint, do you know how many jobs that is in America?
Yeah.
Because those goods are getting shipped directly. How many retail jobs that is? How many warehouse jobs that is?
Yeah, so when's a politician going to actually be able to explain that?
You got to quantify it.
Yeah, it's really simple.
It is simple, but that to me is like we're talking about where is America's involvement in this like global stage of like power. I don't think it's military. Like it's fucking information. It's data. It's how you protect our economy and not let other people pillage it. And I think it's shocking to me on the TikTok end because, okay, forget Shein. Shein's still like, you know, your average adult has no idea what Shein is. So that's fine. TikTok, I mean, it's the number one app in the world for like 4 years. How does not one U.S. politician know what's going on?
Yeah, and guess what? They're tracking every young American and all our movements, our interests, what we like. They can create chaos
easily
by just with their algorithm pushing random.
What was the guy's name? The kickback in Huntington Beach? You like destroyed Huntington Beach that one day. Yeah, with that party.
That was all TikTok.
Was that Aiden's kickback? What was that?
No, it wasn't Aiden. It was Adrian's.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's fascinating. I think even more fascinating, stock market was down this morning. It ended up way up at the end of the day. What? It's and I was jokingly saying in our text, war is good for stocks. And I said it in a joking way, but I mean it. I just historically, war just stimulates the economy. I don't know why. I understand why in the past, military-industrial complex put people back into work, defense spending, manufacturing in America, all these things. That's why war stimulated the economy. We aren't like that. That this type of war is not like that anymore. Like we're not. Like sure, there will be some defense spending, but like
not much.
Yeah,
I think a couple things happened. I think one, just geopolitical uncertainty, just spooked everyone. Like, what's China going to do? Da da da. And then, I think what happened is the geopolitical uncertainty. People are assuming the Fed meets next month to decide how big the rate hike's going to be, and the calculus is basically they're going to get spooked and not raise as many times this year. And if that happens, then tech starts going up again. Because if you look at the stocks that went up the most, it was all tech stocks.
I mean, I'd rather just get the fucking interest rates rose and get it over with because it's nothing is changing. With oil prices now freaking going through the roof, the inflation's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'd rather just start raising. Be done. They should have already started raising because, like, the faster we get over with this problem, the quicker all these things go back to normal.
Yeah, but the problem is markets are irrational, and it's the most inefficient place where trillions and trillions of dollars are being traded. And I mean, I've never followed the market closer than the last 2 years, and what I've realized is the market knows nothing.
Well, here's something interesting. Coinbase reported earnings and massive numbers. Reported fourth quarter earnings after the bell today. And what did we find out? revenue expectation was 1.94 billion, came in at 2.5 billion.
It's insane.
EBITDA of 1.2 billion. I mean, it's like 50% net margins.
It's the cocaine business on steroids.
And the stock is down in after hours.
The call hasn't happened.
Well,
So let's see. I think it's too early to see how the market's reacting.
they gave a 2022 outlook sheet, and the main thing is they believe Q1 is going to be soft on trading.
Yeah, but we knew that.
Yeah.
Like who's dumb enough to think?
Well, I think that's why the stock has been already tanked.
Yeah, but this is how. What my point is how stupid the market is.
Yeah.
When growth tech is down 70, 80%, crypto's down 40, 50%.
Yeah.
Who would think Coinbase is going to have more volume this quarter than the quarter before? Like, how dumb do you have to be?
Well, yeah, that's why the stock's down. They're like, okay, then if they're now that it's confirmed that there's no other smoking gun that could potentially be a
The
catalyst.
stock's like modestly down. We'll see. I think you got to wait for the call.
Okay. I mean, the earnings were great, numbers are great, but unfortunately for Coinbase, it tracks crypto.
It tracks crypto, but I think there's going to be a point where if you believe in crypto, this is your on-ramp.
Sure, but the problem is it's correlated directly to the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum.
The volume is for sure.
Yeah, but that's where their profit is.
It's going
right?
to take years, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, you know, the company's making money right now. Bitcoin is still useless right now, but Coinbase is not. Coinbase should be rewarded, and it's not. For some reason, the street is not rewarding Coinbase as a stock.
I think Wall Street just doesn't understand the company.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly because, like, it might, I mean,
it's outside of big tech, there's not one single technology company publicly traded that has profits like this.
what
Not
Tesla
one.
now does. I guess they're considered big tech.
Yeah, they're $1 trillion company.
Yeah. They have profits too. But yeah, it's surprising. Like, I don't think they're going to say anything on the earnings. They're going to change people's mind. If people think it's Q1, like, then it's soft. Then the problem is it's the tracking to Bitcoin and Ethereum, which I don't think it's actually fair for the company because they're making money regardless. It still prints cash regardless. So I don't understand why it's tracking Bitcoin, Ethereum completely.
Yeah.
I get to a certain extent, but like, dude, it is trading extremely cheap compared to like other companies that don't even have like the addressable market size of what a Coinbase could potentially have if done right. So pretty surprised in the stock falling. Another interesting stock I was following. So this morning, Coinbase hit $159 and then rocketed up to $180. And one of the reasons why is that I think there was this belief with this Ukraine situation that crypto would be a great way to move money for a lot of people in that region. And there was an example of a nonprofit group in the Ukraine receiving $400,000 of donations in Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. So assuming the banking, especially in Russia particularly, with the sanctions that Joe Biden is now talking about, which is freezing aid, freezing banks.
Well, basically, the sanctions, all the state-operated banks, which is where all the money is in Russia,
Yeah.
has now been blocked off from being able to do business with the United States.
Yeah.
And I think there's 7 or 8 other countries that have also put sanctions on these banks, and they're not as strict as what the U.S. has done. But imagine, like, you're basically blocked off to Western society, and the big sanction that everyone was waiting to see if he'll do is basically kick them off SWIFT. So SWIFT is how you move money around the world, wires, blah, blah, blah. If you've ever sent a wire, there's a SWIFT code. So it's the method of transfer. So if Russia, the problem is Germany and Europe gets natural gas from Russia.
So they can't kick them off.
They don't want them to kicked off because they have no way of paying them. This is like the biggest use case of crypto.
Crypto, yeah.
If Germany just sent like crypto to Russia instead of U.S. dollars,
Yeah.
and I think it's pretty fascinating. But yeah, because if Russia stopped giving natural gas to Europe, they'd freeze.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see because there's a lot of use cases here for crypto in this instance. So I'm curious to see how that affects prices. Do people start utilizing it? It'll be pretty interesting to see. The other thing that I think was fascinating about today's day of trading, so our friends at Revolve reported earnings yesterday after the close of the stock market. And their earnings were incredible. They reported just massive growth across their Revolve business and their forward business. So like, we talk about a lot of these growth companies. You get rewarded if you continue to grow aggressively. Revolve grew 70% over the prior year and 63% over the fourth quarter of 2019. That was the metric that it just shows that they're not, the COVID bump is not the only reason why they're growing. So they actually grew substantially over 2019. Then guess what? They're profitable. Increase of profit of over 55%, $29 million of net income. So like incredible growth, top line and profitability. Their forward business, which is their luxury business, saw massive growth. I mean, like, I think like looking at their business, they were positioned incredibly well during the pandemic, and then they actually took advantage of what's happening in the environment today, and they seem like they're just in such a better place than all the other e-commerce companies that we talk about, mainly because like they have a relationship with their customer that's so different. They're not paying for their customer every day. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're profitable. Because if you actually have a true brand and a true relationship with your customer, you're not spending money to acquire them every single day. Because technically, once you acquire them, you should be able to sell them forever. E-commerce businesses today, D2C ones particularly, have to keep paying and paying, even for the second and third purchase. That means you don't have a relationship with your customer. Mm-hmm. Revolve's relationship with their customer is phenomenal. So congrats to the squad, Mike and Risa and even Gil.
You're giving Gilly credit.
I'll even give Gil. I'm sure he has.
Why? Because he was dancing to Justin Bieber going crazy 2 weeks
He's
ago?
like a chief Justin Bieber videographer at Revolve. But yeah, I mean, just phenomenal quarter. Just shows that like they're just out executing every one of their peers. I mean, like, their market cap is almost the size of Gap now.
That's crazy.
And they're 4x, 3 to 4x on any given day of Stitch Fix. And so it just shows like their execution has been incredible throughout the last couple of years. I'm happy to call them good friends and excited for them. Interesting thing was the stock was trading at $50 yesterday. I wake up this morning, it was at $40, down 20%. Mm. So I was like, oh man, it's kind of cheap. So I started looking at it, tracking it. And then in the day it was up.
Yeah.
The stock market rallied so hard today. It was just like everyone like put everything aside and was like, these stocks are cheap. Doesn't matter what's happening in the world. We got to buy.
Yeah. No one wants to miss a dip.
No.
Whether you're retail, institutions, everyone knows the stock market over a long period of time will appreciate. So everyone has FOMO.
Yeah.
So when things are hammered, regardless of what the situation is, same thing with the pandemic. Even before the Fed went nuts, shit started going up.
Yeah.
Because people are like, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip.
It's just that was the tone even this morning at the event I went to.
Everyone was just trying to figure out what to buy.
No one was talking about selling anything. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you buying? It's always, what are you buying? No one's ever selling.
Americans are the greediest people on the planet. We're so greedy.
Yeah. Not one person have I talked to and said, like, it's not a good time to sell. It's a good time to buy.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know what it is? It's the mindset of Americans. It's
just we win. That's
we
it.
win. You lose. We win.
Yeah.
Losers.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's like we don't lose.
Yeah.
So we're going to win. It's just, are we going to win by 50 or 100?
Or are we winning in the first quarter or we're going to win in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
But we're winning. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter.
It's so true.
It feels like the Patriot way.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating to watch. But yeah, I mean, like, greed will always win with our country, and it's
Yep.
clearly like, I mean, talk about everything going up. Nikola was up.
Yeah.
How do they have earnings beat? They don't do anything.
It's a fucking joke.
They had an operating loss of $90 million. I mean,
Do they even sell anything?
so they're finally expected to have some revenue next year. They expect in 2022 to do anywhere between 90 and 150 million. What a range. When you do no revenue and just say, hey, I think we might do 90, I think we might do 150. What the irony is when you're a young a startup and you do a projection, right? And it's just bullshit, right? Year 1, year 2, year 3, you know, everything's just a hockey stick. You just kind of show up. This is a publicly traded company doing the same thing.
This is a publicly traded company that's acting like a seed stage company.
Yeah.
Like we have this grand, large idea, fund us. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
I mean, it's still a $3.2 billion company, and they have no idea how much revenue they're going to do this year.
What happened to the Wall Street Bets crowd? They disappear?
I mean, they got crushed.
I don't hear about them anymore. They're not pumping anything?
You have to have money. There's no more money.
That was 1 year ago, right? Right around now?
Yeah, it's literally 1 year ago. It's staggering.
Where's deep fucking value?
He's rich. How's GameStop doing, by the way?
I have no idea.
Still $124 a share.
I'm sure
$10 billion company still. That guy may never sell.
Who?
Deep fucking value. I think he's still holding the stock.
I mean, he has to have taken some off, right?
He had a pride, might not have taken anything. Who knows? People are nuts. Interesting. You know, talking about buying the dip, there's a rumor out that LVMH is looking at Ralph Lauren.
Crazy.
Insane. I mean, Ralph Lauren, heritage, probably one of the most important American brands in American fashion history. It's kind of been dead, right? Like, even though it's still a massive business, it has a $10 billion market cap. I think, let's see how much revenue they do. You know, it's still a very important staple in American fashion, but like they didn't really participate in kind of, I don't know, the marketing energy of the last couple of years, whether it was influencers, whether it was collaborations, the right creative directors. It just didn't like, I don't know. For me, it's like, why didn't you kind of take advantage of like the Virgil Ablohs, the Jerry Lorenzos? Like, why didn't you create that moment for Ralph Lauren where you could have potentially reignited the brand? And LVMH just does it. They plug and play. Buy this brand, this guy creative director, this lady does this, boom. Sales up. It's guaranteed. It's like they have the script. But American companies, you know, like it took Gap so long to get Kanye. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think American companies, especially retail, just feel like these are like heritage brands that have been around forever.
You
just
know
think
you're going to buy us.
No, I think they figured it out in the 80s and 90s and like we don't need to change. And it's just arrogance.
Yeah. But I think like imagine if a Ralph Lauren was integrated into LVMH. You do the Balenciaga collab. I mean, not Balenciaga. You do the LV collab. Yeah. You do a Rimowa travel thing. You just plug and play a Dior Ralph Lauren. I mean, it'll be the hottest thing in the world overnight.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what Ralph Lauren should have been doing, buying streetwear brands the last 15 years.
They should have been collecting every American streetwear brand.
Yeah.
And then integrated with collaborations. I mean, Ralph Lauren had the market cap 5 years ago. They could have bought anything.
For sure. They could have bought anything. They could have gotten... They just literally were completely ignoring the culture.
Yeah.
And now no young person's wearing Ralph Lauren.
Like ALD, the brand that we were talking about a few weeks ago. They should own that.
I think people discounted the culture.
Yeah.
The 50-year-old CMO at Ralph Lauren 10 years ago didn't think
hip-hop would kind of
take over.
Parisians figured it out. Italians figured it out.
Yeah.
Did you see Hugo Boss's latest campaign?
Mm-mm.
It's like future who else was in it? I think Billie Eilish. They went and paid crazy money. All these people wearing big BOSS sweatshirts, logo sweatshirts to make the brand hip and cool. Because Hugo Boss has basically been irrelevant for young people for such a long time. Now, these big Boss sweatshirts everywhere. I mean, luxury brand.
It's honestly shame on the American retail companies because it happened in our backyard.
Yeah.
Like
You guys made America weak.
Yeah, I mean, Jay-Z was pushing product 15 years ago.
Yeah.
What did it take you to realize that this is the culture?
20 years ago.
Sure. I'm saying physical product, not his albums.
I'm saying 20 years ago, Jay-Z had influence on fashion.
Yeah.
20 years ago. It's not like it just happened.
Yeah, Matt, dude, which song was it where he's like, I'm done with jerseys, I'm wearing button-ups?
Change clothes.
Yeah.
Do you know how many button-downs 5-4
Do you know
sold?
how many people stopped wearing jerseys because of that line?
Yeah, one line.
One line. Everyone stopped wearing jerseys.
Overnight. I wear a fresh pair of jeans button up.
Crisp
That was
button
it.
up, whatever. Yeah.
That's it. One
Like,
line.
how did corporate America not see that?
It's insane.
Just pure arrogance.
Arrogance. And now you look at what young people want.
Do you know what it is? They didn't think white kids followed that. They thought it was just a black culture thing.
I mean, what are you talking about? Go to the suburbs. Every white kid.
I understand. They didn't realize it.
Yeah.
They probably thought it was a phase.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Oh, my white son's just wearing jerseys because he's young.
Yeah.
He's not going to follow the button-up trend when Jay-Z says that's
And
the
now the
trend.
guy's 40 and his face is tatted up. And he looks like a little Uzi Vert. It's fascinating to see that like American brands, like very few, like when I think about like the youth culture retailers, I think PacSun's done a incredible job, and I think American Eagle has done an incredible job, but I think everyone else has kind of laid an egg. Mm-hmm. It's so obvious what to do. Mm-hmm. It's not rocket science in terms of staying relevant to young
Basically,
people.
if your corporate company, especially an old one, if your marketing department's not filled at 25 to 35-year-olds, you're going to get it wrong.
Yeah, you just can't get it.
There's no way. Like, even now, we try so hard to stay like at least knowledge-based relevant. We're not in those circles. We're not out at all the spots every night where the young kids are, seeing what they do.
I am. I'm watching. I'm observing.
You're at 2 venues at any given time.
And I see young people there, and I see what they're doing. I'm watching the dance moves. I'm listening to the songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not that hard is the point.
Yeah.
Go to Spotify.
But no 40-year-old's going to do that.
I mean, go to Spotify, go to YouTube, 5 minutes on TikTok. You know what's hot. It's that easy.
No, and the 45-year-old CMO is like, oh, I don't understand TikTok. That's what they'll say.
Yeah.
I'm not going on TikTok.
Yeah, I hate when you meet anyone in any consumer industry and goes, oh, I don't do TikTok. Then you're irrelevant.
Completely
if you
irrelevant.
don't do TikTok and you're in a consumer business, you're a moron.
Yeah.
Literally moron.
Like, I saw a trend amongst like the male influencers because I didn't know aloe yoga was blowing up amongst men. And then I saw like,
Now you're head to toe aloe.
no, Bryce Hall and like,
They're all in the ads.
yeah, obviously they got paid. They're wearing the aloe trucker.
Yeah.
And I walked by I just walked into Aloe at the Grove, and like there was a line of guys trying to buy the trucker hat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they just saw it on TikTok.
Yeah. It's that easy. It works instant. You put it on.
And they all had the same hair as these kids.
Yeah.
Everyone has the exact same haircut now.
Yeah.
The shaggy that like kind of flows on the
Yeah.
bottom or the top, the front of your head.
Yeah.
And you need the aloe trucker.
I mean, I got to meet one of the guys that handles influencers at Aloe. He listens to the podcast. He's killing it.
I'm sure.
It's killing it because look, it's instant. You see your favorite person wearing it. You boom.
Yeah, they all want to be these kids, so they want to look like them. It's
Yeah.
the same shit that's been going on for generations.
Yeah, you put Jay-Z rocks your shit in a music video.
Yeah.
Next week your sales go up.
Right.
That's what's happening when we started.
So easy.
Yeah, and it's mind blowing that like that's why like for an LVMH to buy a Ralph Lauren, it's so easy. The distribution's already there. The retail footprint is there. All you got to do, look what they did to Tiffany overnight.
Mm-hmm. You saw that Tiffany Patek that LeBron wore at the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, you see everyone who has that. Why it's It's nuts just to have it instantly. So it's like you instantly like create energy for the brand. And I mean, they just have the formula down, and they can do it. And and it's not just them. A lot of Gucci, Balenciaga, they all do it. They do such. Look how relevant Balenciaga is.
Yeah, you may break your back wearing those shoes because they're so heavy, but you got to wear them.
You got to wear them. I mean, Gap launched last night the collection with Kanye, Balenciaga, Gap. I don't know whenever the hell that's going to show up. I guarantee you everyone's going to wear it. Everyone made fun of that blue jacket. I see that blue jacket all over town all the time. People wearing it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just shows that like it's pretty obvious what the playbook is. I just don't understand why more people don't do it.
Laziness.
Yeah. Then interesting news: Elon and his brother Kimbo Musk are getting investigated whether recent stock sales violated insider trading laws. You think anything will happen?
Did. No, nothing will happen. Maybe Elon has to pay a fine. That's it.
It's interesting.
It's because his brother sold stock the day before he did the Twitter poll whether he should sell stock to basically make a point to Bernie and AOC. Yeah, that's insider trading, but this happens all the time.
I mean, come on. The whole stock market is rigged.
Yeah, it's completely rigged.
I bet you
how. I mean, this is the most obvious thing. When you see a stock running up before earnings, like obviously the street knows they beat it, right?
Yeah.
That's how many people look at the volume. That entire cohort of buyers should be investigated for insider trading.
Yeah. It's insane. On to some more interesting news. So there was a report last week that Patrick Mahomes told his brother Jackson and his fiancee Brittany not to attend Chiefs games next season. The internet went berserk, thrilled that is what happened. He obviously came out, denied it completely, saying, that's absolutely not true. He's like, the internet is crazy. A TMZ went and tried to get a confirmation saying that's not correct, not accurate. Pretty fascinating that's like how ingrained the football, even like the brother and sister of one of the
brother and wife
yeah, of probably the most famous football player at the moment. Them attending a game has irritated so many people.
Yeah, because it's the convergence of like everything. Jackson Mahomes is a TikTok kid.
Star, yeah.
And yeah, he's got like 8-9 million followers.
He has that many followers?
Yeah. And I mean,
it's TikTok.
I don't want to take a view here, but he pisses a lot of people off because he's doing the TikTok dances on the field
yeah.
before the Chiefs game. And, some of these TikTok dances aren't the most masculine, and people affiliate football with masculinity.
Yeah.
And I think people get mad.
I love it. I'm a huge Jackson Mahomes fan. Everyone was sending me the articles saying, oh, your boy got canceled. Guess what? He's back.
Yeah, he's back. He's bigger than ever.
I guarantee you next season, those dances are going to get bigger.
Yeah, I think they're going to triple down.
I mean, Patrick will be like, oh, just do it in the middle of the field.
Yeah,
you're on the sidelines now. Do it in the middle of the field.
He needs to get his brother a bigger plane. He posts the jet that he takes to the game. It's a real small plane.
Well, get more followers, Jackson. You'll be on a bigger plane. Fascinating either way. The other fascinating thing about sports news, the ratings came out for the Daytona 500 and the NBA All-Star Game. Daytona 500 had how much bigger rating? 44%?
I think 41% bigger.
41% bigger. NBA's in a tough spot.
Yeah, and the NBA had all the stars. Everyone was playing. Except for Durant, but LeBron and Steph were playing. That's all that matters.
I basically think if you're a conservative, you will not watch the NBA.
I think that's right. We know some conservatives who hate the NBA now.
Yeah, and I think that's a tough one to come back from. That's when Roger Goodell did such a good job as a commissioner. Put aside whatever your views are, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, these guys are running businesses. They can't afford to have low viewership.
Yeah, I would say
Roger Goodell removed politics out of the sport and said, we're here to entertain, and that's it.
And, the game had everything. Steph going berserk, LeBron hits the game winner.
Yeah.
The NBA could not have scripted a better second half.
Yeah.
Your two, most famous stars both produced. And it came down to, the last shot.
Yeah. So do you think NBA makes any changes? Because these other sports are catching up. You know, MLS is catching up. Daytona 500 having bigger ratings in the NBA All-Star, it's kind of nuts. I understand Daytona 500, it's a big-ass race, but 40% higher?
Yeah. It's interesting because the NBA has been on a consistent decline.
Yeah.
A lot of these other sports have been choppy. Like NFL went down and then now it's skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And some of the other sports have been choppy. This has been a growth stock.
Yeah.
It's just going down.
Done. I don't think that in their case the players have so much control that like you can't institute the change you need to bring back the other side of the viewership. Because the players are like, I don't care, they don't need to come. Because the only thing that'll affect the players' mood and changing will be money. Like, okay, instead of getting paid 40, you're getting paid 20.
Yeah, that's what I said. The next collective bargaining agreement, the owners aren't stupid. They know this is happening. And if players just decide not to play, skip games, sign a 4-year deal, get unhappy in 6 months and say I'm out, fans are going to turn off.
Yeah.
How can you expect, like, even like if you're a Lakers fan, LeBron's the biggest star, and then he goes an All-Star weekend saying, like, he might want to go to Cleveland. How can you be happy as a Lakers fan when he says, I might go to Cleveland?
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to be like disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the challenge is that like the NBA was all about player empowerment, which I think was very important for sports leagues in general. But at the same time, there was an industry there's a huge industry around these sports teams, and that like everyone has to play their part in order for everyone to win. And the NFL, whether people like the arrangement or not, they're all playing the damn part. You can complain behind the scenes all you want, but everyone's playing their role in the NFL. The players are playing their role. You know, the refs, the leagues, everyone, the commentators. But in the NBA, it's like clearly the players are running the league, and like they're only looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for the interest of the league.
Yeah, I mean, like think about like John Wall, who plays for the Houston Rockets. He's making $41 million a year. Hasn't played a game. He's healthy.
Yeah, that's wild.
$41 million.
You know, Ben Simmons.
He got dinged to salary though.
He did.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you got to be. We're all at the end of the day. We're all employees. Like we're only as good as.
But I mean, the NBA was going through a period where like you have this nationally televised game, and you know the biggest stars would be like Kawhi Leonard. I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Load management.
Yeah,
sitting
which
up.
sucks because the NBA I think was on the verge of like explosion with Steph and LeBron, those Warrior Cavs era.
Yeah.
Like that was such a big era in sports history, and then it feels like now I don't know. Like when I watch, you don't even no one watched it. No one watches any games. Like you go talk to someone about basketball, like I don't know.
Yeah, I also think
People know like the third receiver on the Titans though.
the season's too long.
Yeah.
And everyone knows the first 60% of the season doesn't matter.
Yeah, they don't even play.
They don't even play, and they sit. Most games come down the fourth quarter. So why are you watching the first three?
Yeah,
Unless you're like a real fan.
Yeah.
Or an analyst.
I guess everyone's making money. TV deals are big. China's paying the bills. What does it matter?
Gambling saves it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like nothing works on live television but sports.
Yeah.
So the broadcast, the big broadcasters have no other option but to pay. So when the deal's up, they're going to pay them.
Yeah.
What else are you programming?
Yeah.
They're just buying a product that's declining.
Yeah.
So maybe the next TV deal, they get screwed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not going to happen in this one.
Interesting. All right. And let's move on. Winners, losers, content. Who's your winner?
My winner. Here, you go first.
My winner of the week is LA County.
Why is that?
We finally relaxed our indoor mask rules. So as of tomorrow, you can take off your mask in indoor locations if you have proof of vaccination. I think they'll check vaccines for a week or two, and that shit's over. I know plenty of small businesses in the LA area do not check vaccinations. There are certain national people that are very strict about it. But like Why are you now, like, you as a small business, you have to hire someone to fucking check vaccines?
Yeah.
Like, the cashier is busy as it is. There's no fucking employees in the store. No one wants to work. Now you got to hire someone to check. Who's going to take that job?
Right.
Yo, you want to be a vaccine checker at Bristol Farms?
Yeah, that's not happening.
It's not happening. So I just think in like 2 weeks, no holds barred, no one's wearing masks. We're just going on with our life.
Good.
So winner is LA. We're finally done with this shit.
Great. My winner is Michael Jordan. He's perfectly hedged on Sunday.
Yeah.
He owns the Daytona 500 team. He owns the NBA
You mean
team.
NASCAR team.
Sorry, NASCAR team that participated in Daytona 500. He owns the NBA team, so he won the day. He didn't care who was going to win ratings.
Yeah. He won both.
Yes.
It's great. I mean, I really think NASCAR is going to have a huge moment. Like
Formula One had their moment because of the Netflix special.
Yeah. Give NASCAR a Netflix special. NBA needs a Netflix special.
They'll make it political.
No, then do it on a white player.
Luca?
Yeah. No, it needs to be an American white player.
That's the other issue with the NBA. If you look at the top 10, there's a lot of foreign players inching in. Luca, Joel Embiid, Giannis. Like, that's a threat also to America's interest in the game.
Yeah.
And now that
NFL is like Americans. Mm-hmm. Like, even in baseball, it's becoming a dominant Latin league.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Japanese.
Well, only a couple.
Is he the best player?
Yeah, he's the best player.
All right, who's your loser of the week?
I think all of us, whenever there's conflict, war, it's like just gruesome to even watch some of the footage, and I don't enjoy it. And I think it's just sad when you see, especially like civilians in these countries, they didn't choose to be born there. They didn't choose to, be raised there, but they're the ones dealing with the chaos and like the evacuations, the air sirens. That's traumatizing for anyone of any age to experience. So I think obviously the people there are dealing with it, but I don't think there's any winners when that stuff happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's very sad, and it's going to be tough on a lot of people in that region. And there's so many people from Russia that live in LA. It's going to be really interesting. I think it's a tough time for the whole world, and I think it's a tough time it's particularly for those groups of people who have family and have to kind of deal with that reality.
Right.
My loser is really because I'm annoyed is Kanye, because I can't hear this damn album because I don't have a stem player.
Why didn't you get one if you're that big of a fan?
I know. But you know what's interesting is it turns out a lot of people I know have stem players.
Because of Kanye.
Yes, and it's a fascinating device. So the idea that you can basically on the spot remix the song basically and listen to the way you want it to. So you can you can hear the instrumental. I don't know the background of making music at all. I have no idea. But like Eric Deluxe was explaining to us on how cool of a device it is. Mm-hmm. And then randomly a lot of people started DMing me saying, I have a stem player, and it's really fun. It's a really creative way to listen to music because you can kind of listen to it the way you want to, and it's more interactive. And so great for them on the stem player. I just want to listen to the damn songs.
Do we have any early read if any of the songs are good?
I don't know. The internet loves the songs.
They just love the
hoopla.
show. Yeah. Him in the water, kneeling.
Yeah.
Did he throw his mic because it wasn't working? I think I saw that.
Hot. It's all hot.
That was in Miami, right?
Yeah.
Was
Elon
it raining?
Musk.
Yeah. Elon was his
hype man.
Entourage.
Like Rick Ross. Who else was in there?
No, but it was a show.
Such a spectacle.
Everything he does is a spectacle.
He's just really good at that.
Yeah.
The spectacle part of it. Content recommendations.
It's a little early, but Batman comes out next week.
Oh, God.
I will be watching. I think we already bought tickets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Back at the Grove, baby.
Okay. I know I recommended the Carl Icahn documentary. I really enjoyed that. I also recommended this, but I'll say it again. The new season of Billions. In this latest episode, they have like their character that's like the Davey day trader, basically a Dave Portnoy in their show, who's like pumping stocks
In Billions.
Is
Is Portnoy in the? Oh, that's because I saw Portnoy post something. He's talking about
literally-
himself.
It's basic. It's not. He's not in it,
Got
but
it.
it's basically there's a reference to a Dave Portnoy, Davey day trader character, pumping stocks on, and so the Billions team is like referencing it in their conversation. So it's really good, and I know a lot of people are disappointed that Bobby Axelrod is not on the show. I still think it's a phenomenal season. It's really, really good, really entertaining. Check it out.
Great.
I think that's all we have. Do we have anything else, guys?
Nope, that's all we got.
Two things. Run Club, Saturday, Santa Monica and Doheny Boulevard, at 9 a.m. And then on Monday, we have a very special Run Club at 9 a.m. on Santa Monica Boulevard and Doheny, a Monday edition.
Why is that?
Because my good friend Nahal Mehta from New York City is in town for the Upfront conference, which is a venture conference, and he's from ENIAC, and he does a run club in New York City called Pitch and Run, where founders and investors come and connect. So we partnered up on Monday, 9 a.m., Pitch and Run and Grand Running Club, Santa Monica Boulevard and Doheny Boulevard at the water fountain. So Monday morning, come out. We'll be some investors. If you're looking for money, this is where you got to hang out. Incredible early stage venture fund and just an incredible guy overall. So come out and hang out with us. And if you're going to the upfront stuff, I'll be out and about. I don't think I'm going to go to the conference, but I'm out in the streets.
Good.
All right, everyone, stay safe. Stay healthy, and we will see you back here on Sunday.
Peace.